December 2nd, 1978. A 19-year-old kid named Michael walked into a McDonald's in Pennsylvania with a gun. He wasn't there to rob the place. He was there to prove something. And what happened in the next 47 minutes would change fast food security forever and create one of the most bizarre hostage situations in American history. But here's the twist. Michael didn't want money. He didn't want to escape. He wanted a cheeseburger. And not just any cheeseburger. He wanted the perfect cheeseburger, made exactly the way he'd been dreaming about for 3 weeks straight. Stay with me, because this story gets absolutely insane.
Michael Torres grew up in a small town outside Pittsburgh. Quiet kid, didn't have many friends, worked part-time at a grocery store, lived with his mom in a tiny apartment. Normal life, boring life. Until 3 weeks before that December night when Michael's life fell apart in one day. His mom died. Cancer. She'd been sick for months, but Michael didn't know how bad it was. She kept it from him, didn't want him to worry. One morning, Michael woke up and found her gone. Just like that. No warning, no goodbye. The funeral was small. Michael had no other family, no siblings, no dad. It was just him and a handful of his mom's coworkers from the diner where she'd worked for 20 years.
After the funeral, Michael went back to their apartment and realized something. He was completely alone, 19 years old, and completely alone in the world. No family, no real friends, no money. His mom's medical bills had wiped out their savings. The rent was overdue. Michael was about to lose the apartment, lose everything. And that's when Michael started to lose his mind. Not in a violent way, in a quiet, sad, desperate way. Michael stopped going to work, stopped answering the phone. He just sat in that empty apartment eating cereal and watching TV, trying to figure out what to do with his life. And then, one night, Michael was watching television and a McDonald's commercial came on. You know the ones from the late 70s. Big Mac, golden fries, happy families eating together. And Michael remembered something. When he was a kid, maybe 7 or 8 years old, his mom used to take him to McDonald's every Friday after school. It was their thing, their tradition. They didn't have much money, but his mom always made sure they had enough for McDonald's on Fridays. Michael would get a cheeseburger, fries, and a Coke. His mom would get a fish fillet. They'd sit in that booth by the window and talk about school, about life, about everything. Those were the happiest memories Michael had. His mom smiling, laughing, making him feel like everything was going to be okay. Michael started crying watching that commercial because he realized he'd never have that again. Never have his mom, never have those Friday afternoons, never feel safe and loved and happy like that again. And that's when Michael decided something. He wanted one more cheeseburger, one perfect McDonald's cheeseburger, made exactly the way his mom used to order it for him. Extra pickles, no onions, cheese melted just right. He wanted to taste that memory one more time. But here's where Michael's mind went to a dark place. Michael convinced himself that he needed to control the situation completely. He couldn't just walk into McDonald's and order a cheeseburger like a normal person, because what if they messed it up? What if the pickles were wrong? What if the cheese wasn't melted right? This cheeseburger had to be perfect. It had to bring back that feeling, that memory. So Michael decided he needed to take over a McDonald's, force them to make the perfect cheeseburger. And then, and this is where it gets really dark, Michael decided he was going to eat that cheeseburger and then make the police kill him. Suicide by cop. That was Michael's plan. Get his perfect cheeseburger, taste that memory one last time, and then end it all. Because Michael couldn't see a future without his mom. Couldn't see a point in living. He was 19 years old and ready to die for a cheeseburger.
If you're already hooked, hit that subscribe button because what happens next is going to blow your mind. This story goes places you won't believe. December 2nd, 1978, 6:15 p.m. Michael Torres walked into the McDonald's on Route 30 in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. He was wearing a black jacket, jeans, and he was carrying a revolver he'd stolen from his mom's closet, an old .38 Special his mom kept for protection. Michael had never fired a gun in his life. The McDonald's was busy. Saturday night dinner rush. Families, couples, kids everywhere. Michael walked up to the counter, pulled out the gun, and pointed it at the teenage cashier. Her name was Lisa. She was 17 years old, working her first job. Lisa saw the gun and froze.
Michael spoke quietly. "I need you to stay calm. I'm not here to hurt anyone. I just need you to do exactly what I say." Lisa nodded, terrified. Michael looked around the restaurant. There were about 30 people inside. Michael raised his voice. "Everyone listen to me. I have a gun. I need all of you to move to the back of the restaurant, sit down, and stay quiet. Nobody's going to get hurt if you cooperate. Do you understand?" People started screaming, panicking. Michael fired the gun into the ceiling. One shot. The sound was deafening in that small space. Now everyone froze. Michael's voice was shaking. "I said nobody's going to get hurt. Just move to the back, now." The customers slowly moved to the back dining area. Parents holding their kids, people crying, everyone terrified. Michael told Lisa and the other employees to lock the front doors. Then Michael did something strange. He didn't ask for money, didn't make any demands. He just stood there at the counter, looking at the menu board. One of the employees, a manager named David, spoke up. "What do you want? Money? We'll give you everything in the registers. Just let these people go." Michael shook his head. "I don't want your money." David was confused. "Then what do you want?" Michael looked at him. "I want a cheeseburger." David blinked. "What?" "I want you to make me a cheeseburger, but it has to be perfect, exactly the way I tell you. If it's not perfect, someone's going to get hurt. Do you understand?" David nodded slowly. Okay, we can do that. Just tell me how you want it." Michael pulled a piece of paper from his pocket. He'd written it all down. Single patty, American cheese melted on both sides, 3 pickle slices, no onions, ketchup and mustard, toasted bun. And it has to be hot. The cheese has to be melted perfectly. The bun has to be toasted but not burned. I'll know if it's not right. I'll know. David looked at the other employees. "Okay, we'll make it. Just stay calm." But here's where things got weird. Michael told David he wanted to watch them make it, wanted to stand right there at the grill and supervise every step. So David brought Michael behind the counter, and for the next 10 minutes, Michael Torres stood in a McDonald's kitchen with a gun, watching employees make him a cheeseburger while 30 hostages sat in the back of the restaurant. Outside, someone had called the police. Within 5 minutes, cop cars were surrounding the building. Within 10 minutes, the Greensburg Police Department had set up a perimeter. By 6:45 p.m., there were 20 police officers outside, SWAT team on the way, and a hostage negotiator named Officer Frank Russo trying to make contact. Frank called the McDonald's phone. Michael answered. "This is Officer Frank Russo with the Greensburg Police. I need you to tell me what's happening in there. Are the hostages okay?" Michael's voice was calm. "Everyone's fine. I'm not hurting anyone." "Okay, that's good. That's really good. Can you tell me your name?" "Michael." "Okay, Michael. Can you tell me what you want?" "I want a cheeseburger." Frank paused. "I'm sorry, what?" "I want a cheeseburger. I'm making them cook me the perfect cheeseburger. That's all I want." Frank didn't know what to say. "Michael, I need you to listen to me.
You've got 30 people in there. You need to let them go. Once you let them go, we can talk about getting you whatever you want." Michael interrupted. "No, they stay until I finish my cheeseburger. Once I eat it, once I'm done, then we'll talk." Frank tried to stay calm. "Okay, Michael, how about this? You let the kids go, just the kids. Keep the adults, but let the children leave. Would you do that?" Michael thought about it. Yeah, okay." 5 minutes later, Michael opened the front door and let 8 children and their parents walk out. The parents were crying, holding their kids, running to the police line. Now there were 15 hostages left inside. Frank called back, "Thank you, Michael. That was the right thing to do. Now let's talk about the rest of them. How about you let the women go?" Michael said no, not until I eat my cheeseburger. Frank was getting frustrated. "Michael, why is this cheeseburger so important? What's going on?" And that's when Michael started crying. "Because my mom used to take me to McDonald's every Friday when I was a kid. It was our thing. We'd sit by the window and eat cheeseburgers and talk. And she died 3 weeks ago. She's gone, and I just want to remember what that felt like, just one more time. I want to eat a cheeseburger and remember being happy. That's all I want. Then I'll let everyone go." Frank's heart broke. He realized this wasn't a robbery. This wasn't terrorism. This was a suicidal kid having a breakdown. Frank spoke softly. "Michael, I'm so sorry about your mom. I can't imagine how hard that is. But this isn't the way to handle it. Let these people go. Come outside. We'll get you help. We'll get you that cheeseburger, I promise." Michael laughed bitterly. "You don't get it. It has to be perfect. It has to be made right. If I just order it, they'll mess it up. They always mess it up. But if I'm here watching, if I make sure it's done right, then maybe I can remember. Maybe I can feel that way again, just for a minute." Inside the McDonald's, the employees finished making Michael's cheeseburger. David handed it to Michael on a tray. "Here. It's exactly how you wanted it." Michael took the tray, walked over to a booth, and sat down. The hostages were still in the back, watching him. Michael unwrapped the cheeseburger, looked at it. The cheese was melted perfectly. The pickles were placed just right. The bun was toasted golden brown. It looked perfect. Michael took a bite, and he started crying because it tasted exactly like he remembered, exactly like those Friday afternoons with his mom. For 30 seconds, Michael Torres wasn't a hostage taker. He wasn't a criminal. He was just a kid eating a cheeseburger and remembering being loved. Then Michael put the cheeseburger down, picked up the gun, and walked to the front door. Frank saw him coming. Michael opened the door, stepped outside, gun in his hand. Frank yelled, "Michael, put the gun down. We can work this out." Michael shook his head. No, I'm done. I got what I wanted. Now I just want this to be over." Michael raised the gun. Frank screamed, "Don't do it, Michael. Put it down." But Michael didn't point the gun at the police. He pointed it at his own head. And then something incredible happened. One of the hostages, a woman named Patricia, ran out of the McDonald's. She was 52 years old, a school teacher. She'd been listening to everything Michael said, and Patricia ran up to Michael, stood between him and the police, and grabbed his arm. "Michael, please don't do this." Michael was crying. "Get away from me. I don't want to hurt you." "You're not going to hurt me. I know you're not. You let those kids go. You didn't hurt anyone in there. You're not a bad person. You're just hurting." Patricia kept talking. "I lost my husband 2 years ago. cancer, and I wanted to die too. I didn't see a point in going on without him. But you know what I realized? The people we love, they don't want us to die for them. They want us to live. They want us to keep going, keep fighting, keep finding reasons to be happy. Michael was sobbing now. I don't have any reasons. Yes, you do. You just don't see them yet, but they're there. I promise they're there. Patricia reached out and took the gun from Michael's hand. He didn't resist, and Michael Torres collapsed on the ground, crying. The police rushed in, handcuffed him, took him into custody. All the hostages were released unharmed. Michael was charged with kidnapping, armed robbery, and reckless endangerment. But here's where the story takes another turn. Patricia, the teacher who talked Michael down, started visiting him in jail. She brought him books, talked to him about grief, about moving forward. Patricia even testified at Michael's trial, told the judge that Michael wasn't a criminal. He was a kid who'd lost everything and didn't know how to cope. The judge sentenced Michael to 8 years in prison, but recommended psychiatric treatment and grief counseling. Michael served 5 years, got out in 1983, and when he was released, Patricia was there waiting for him. She'd arranged a job for Michael at a community center, working with at-risk kids, teaching them about grief, about making better choices. Michael Torres is still alive today. He's 65 years old, still works with kids, still tells his story, and people always ask him, "Do you regret it? Regret that night at McDonald's?" Michael says yes and no. I regret scaring those people. I regret putting them through that, but I don't regret getting help, because that night forced me to face what I was running from, forced me to deal with my mom's death instead of ending my own life. Patricia saved me. That cheeseburger couldn't bring my mom back, but it reminded me that happiness existed, and if it existed once, it could exist again. The McDonald's on Route 30 in Greensburg is still there, still open, and every year on December 2nd, Michael Torres goes back, orders a cheeseburger, sits in that same booth and remembers, not just his mom, but the people who saved his life that night, the employees who stayed calm, the hostages who didn't panic, Patricia who saw past his mistakes and saw his pain, Frank Russo, the negotiator, who later said Michael's case changed how he approached every hostage situation after that, because sometimes people don't want money or escape. Sometimes they just want to be heard, want to be seen, want someone to understand their pain. Hit that like button if this story taught you something about compassion, about second chances, about how the smallest